Yeah, look, have a look at the prison the government are building for you. They want to give you a 15-minute prison from your home. Be launched in 2024.
And remember, if you only watch 1 hour of telly tonight, you'll be glad it's this one because I'm going to give you a very specific warning, and you won't hear it from anyone else. I believe we are facing a sinister threat to the freedoms and everyday liberties that we and our grandparents have taken for, and our parents have taken for granted all our and their lives, but are being squeezed out of us by woke left-wing authoritarian governments more effectively than a python crushing the breath out of Mrs. Kafuk's pet Pekingese. And if we don't wake up soon and start saying no, it will be too late. Yesterday, I read a very disturbing story that comes out of Oxfordshire in Britain.
Yeah,
But it
first
offers a
prison camp.
terrifying glimpse into what the future, the net zero future, could well look like under the climate renewables tyranny of Chris Bowen and Anthony Albanese, of Dan Andrews, of Palaszczuk, of McGowan, of the loonies that seem to inhabit so many of our left-wing councils and the ACT, Labor councils and governments. According to Darren Burks at the independent website Vision News, and you can also read the same story on the Daily Skeptic, an excellent website, the Joe Nova blog, and elsewhere, Oxford County Council are planning on embarking in 2024 not on COVID lockdowns, but, as I and many others have long predicted, climate lockdowns. Yes, folks, the Great Reset is going to begin in earnest among the dreamy spires of Oxford, once the very centre of learning and enlightenment in the English-speaking world. How will it work? Well, scarily, much of the infrastructure of oppression and surveillance is already in place, as it is here. But recently, Oxford County Council started to spell out the details. And yes, it's all being done in the name of saving the planet from climate change. According to Vision News, last week, Oxfordshire County Council finally approved their plans to lock residents into one of 6 zones across the city of Oxford. They have divided the city, this is the council, into 6 zones as the latest stage in what is called the 15-minute city agenda. Remember that phrase. And they are actually boasting about this agenda. According to an October article in the Oxford Mail, the local newspaper there, quote, Duncan Enright, Oxfordshire County Council's Cabinet Member for Travel and Development Strategy, has explained how roadblocks stopping most motorists from driving through Oxford city centre will divide the city into 6 15-minute neighbourhoods. He insists the controversial plan will go ahead whether people like it or not. There's your COVID mentality at work. The Oxfordshire Council will place electronic gates on key roads in and out of the city, confining residents to their own neighbourhoods. Even the Times newspaper has reported on this travesty without batting an eyelid, that motorists will be fined simply for leaving their neighbourhood once too often. So, how does this communist-style activity work in what is supposedly the heart of a liberal democracy? Well, here's how the boffins explain it. Every resident will be required to register their car with the county council, who will then monitor how many times they leave their district via number plate recognition cameras. People can drive freely around their own neighbourhood and must apply for a permit to drive through the filters and into other neighbourhoods, which they can apply to for up to 100 days per year. The council will then track their movements via smart cameras positioned all around the city. If any of Oxford's 150,000 residents drives outside of their designated district more than 100 days in the year, he or she can be fined $150 a pop.
Fucking prison, innit? Eh? What a fucking prison. All the media, they're all in on it. They're all controlled by the same old mob.
And pedestrians are herded around like sheep in
Even Sky, they're all part of it.
The concrete.
That's where you get all your education from, the bullshitters.
Out of nowhere. Notice how you can barely find anywhere to park in Sydney CBD these days, and how instead there's all these empty bike lanes for miles and miles that have taken over so much space on our roads, and yet completely empty because even the cyclists hardly ever use them. There's a perfectly wide 4-lane stretch of road in Paddington that I drive down where inexplicably the speed limit was lowered to a measly 40 for no sensible reason that I can tell, and cars crawl along there at half the speed they could be going. Notice how more and more surveillance cameras are popping up all over the place. Stop at the traffic lights and look up at any intersection these days, and the chances are you'll see a little white camera peering down into your lap, checking whether you're on your mobile phone or whatever. Cameras everywhere, monitoring our every move. Go to Bunnings and other stores nowadays, and facial recognition cameras are monitoring your every move, logging in your details and data without you having any say in the matter. When I was in Britain recently, I went to pay at one of those loathsome self-payment things that have tossed perfectly good checkout chicks and other workers on the scrap heap in all our supermarkets, or so many of them. Well, in the UK, when you go to those self-serving friggin' things, the checkout machine photographs your face as you are paying. Coming here too, I have no doubt. So what exactly is a 15-minute city? The term was coined in 2016 by Sorbonne professor Carlos Marino, who was given a Nobel Award in 2021 for developing his idea. I'll bet he was. The Lovies lapped it up. Quote, "A truly livable and sustainable urban future that places each global citizen at the heart of their own city," was the gushing blurb. When they say places each global citizen at the heart of their own city, of course, I suspect what they really mean is imprisons each global citizen within 5 kilometers of their own home. Unsurprisingly, we find the concept enthusiastically being sold by Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. The same mob who hope that by 2030 you will own nothing and you will be happy have even gone to the trouble of drawing you up a cute little diagram of your wonderfully new virtual prison to make the idea look benign and appealing, as well as a funky interactive World Economic Forum graph. Klaus loves these.
There you go. There's your fucking open-air prison.
Learn that urban resilience, for example, is linked to climate change, cybersecurity, and, of course, systemic racism.
What they don't want you to do is find out what they're fucking up to. That's what it is. So they want to keep control of you, keep your prison down, so you can't find out the truth. Well, they keep you prisoner all your life. They keep flooding out the planet with modified jet fuel.
The 15-minute city is now already being eagerly embraced by the United Nations to tackle climate change, of course, as well by a host of city councils and local governments all around the world, including popping up in Barcelona, Paris, Portland, Buenos Aires, and even Brisbane and Melbourne. Yes, they're everywhere. Interesting, isn't it? How all these different cities all around the world seem to be kind of hopping on the same bandwagon all at the same time. It's almost as if, I don't know, we had one big government running the world behind the scenes, telling all the little governments, the democratically elected ones, what to do. Of course, I'm only joking. That could never happen, could it? Here's French President Emmanuel Macron at the recent APEC conference Albo scurried off to attend.
Are you on the US or the Chinese side? Because now, progressively, a lot of people would like to see there are two orders in this world. This is a huge mistake, even for both the US and China. We need a single global order.
Whoa, hang on, Emmanuel, you're way behind the 8 ball there, mon vieux. According to our own Chief Health Officer here in New South Wales, we've already got one.
We will be looking at what contact tracing looks like in the New World Order.
Anyway, certain folk here in Australia are getting extremely excited about the idea of the 15-minute city. The Brisbane Times were most enthusiastic. Quote, "The concept of a city in which work, play and most of life's necessities are within 15 minutes of home on foot or by bicycle gained traction during the pandemic. And today, cities around the world, including London, Milan and Paris, are embracing the idea." I'll bet they are. Hilariously, in Melbourne, they've also adopted the 15-minute city, but there they call it the 20-minute city. Can't you just hear Dan Andrews on the phone with Klaus Schwab? Ja, Herr Andrews, we must have the 15-minute city plan to lock down Melbourne to save the world from catastrophic climate change.